Orange is the new black is where we dive in. Every episode we'll discuss, even the scenes that made us cuss. So follow me, join the spree. I try to space for 2 E's. Spoilers everywhere, so be warned. Super fans, please come on board. Susie's special line and all these ideas, because we make it everything chewy as it is.
Hello, and welcome to Yadda Space. I'm Yadda, and I'm so glad you're here. This is a rewatch podcast for the Netflix TV show Orange is the New Black. Every Tuesday, I'll be recapping one episode of the show with you, but please keep in mind that this is a rewatch podcast. That means that there may be spoilers about things that happen in the future episodes, so please be warned. This is definitely a spoiler zone. On today's episode of our Orange is the New Black rewatch, we will be discussing Season 1, Episode 9, titled Fucksgiving, a classic. The IMDb synopsis for this episode says, Piper is in high spirits when she makes peace with Alex and awaits a visit from Larry on Thanksgiving. However, Healy's true colors come out when he throws Piper in solitary confinement for dancing with Alex. The frightening experience of solitary forces Piper to take a serious look at her life and come to several conclusions about the future. In this episode, we are getting a backstory from Alex, so we will get to see her as a young girl and get to see a little bit of a look into how she became the woman that we see today. We have actually seen the director and the head writer for this episode before. Michael Trim is directing again. We've already seen his work in Miss Claudette's backstory episode, the Whack Pack episode, and also the pilot episode of the show. Also, apologies to Sean Heder. I know previously in the last episode that she wrote for, I think I pronounced her name Sian. It is spelled S-I-A-N, but I've since learned that her name is actually Sean. So apologies to you, Sean. I did not mean to get your name wrong. As somebody who often gets her name mispronounced, I'm really kind of a stickler about that. So we do have Sean Heder on again as the head writer for this week's episode. She was also the lead writer for Sophia's backstory episode. So I think it's safe to say that we are in good hands with these two on for today's episode. And as I always say, I know that there's more than one person in a writer's room, so I'd like to give a shout out to the entire writing team. Thank you all for writing such a great show. You told the stories that were not being told, and for that, we thank you. This is actually the highest rated episode so far on IMDb. This episode is rated an 8.3, so yeah, it is our highest rated episode so far. At the end of this pod, I will be giving my personal episode rating, but I encourage you guys to go ahead and write your episode ratings in the comments as well, so that we can get an idea of what we the people think is actually the rating on this episode. Okay, so let's get into it. So when the episode opens up, we're in Red's kitchen and Nikki is sitting there peeling carrots when Red comes over asking her why isn't she at work. Apparently, Luschek never showed up, so she decided to come give Red a hand in the kitchen since she's preparing for Thanksgiving. Red asks Nikki to help Gina bring the turkeys out of the freezer, and Nikki's like, oh shit, we got real turkeys this year? But no, they got trimmings from the factory. Basically, the leftover turkey meat that nobody else wanted is what they sold to the prison for 50 cents a pound. Red explains that the whole meal has to come in at $1.05 a prisoner. Red says the taxpayers don't give a shit if it's a holiday. We're the bad guys. Which I get it. It's the bottom line. It's the budget. But also, I don't think they're going to be killing the budget by buying some turkey and trimmings once a year. I think the budget will be just fine to let the women have a little bit of humanity for that one day. As Red is continuing to prepare for Thanksgiving, she goes into one of the food boxes and discovers that there are some pills in there. Red quickly hides the pills in her clothes, but not before Nikki sees. Red tells Nikki to brown the onions for the gravy as she storms out of the kitchen with the pills under her clothes. Clearly, Red's upset that someone has gone over her head and now has her connect Neptune's produce, bringing in pills for them, which is adding drugs to the prison and making it a very unsafe place for the women. Red is pissed. It turns out Red took those pills directly to the bathroom. She opened up the baggies and dumped all of the pills right down the toilet. Somebody's out a lot of money, but at least the prison will be a little bit more safe. So that transitions us from the shot of the toilet bowl where Red has thrown the pills down the drain and into the next scene and another drain where Sophia is washing Piper's hair in the prison's beauty salon. As Sophia is washing Piper's hair, Piper starts to get a little bit emotional to the point where Sophia is asking her, are you okay? Piper says it's nothing. It's just, being touched by another person. I guess she's been in prison for some time now, at least a few weeks, maybe a couple of months or so. And so it's been a long time since she's been touched by another human. I mean, I guess they get their little one hug in, one hug out during visitation, but I mean, is that enough to sustain a person? I don't think so. So yeah, I can understand her getting emotional from even just getting her hair washed. Sophia tells Piper she understands. Sophia shares that she's been at Litchfield for 2 years and she still reaches out for her wife some nights. People need human contact. Piper tells Sophia that sometimes she thinks about what she'd say if Larry decided to transition to a woman. And to Piper's credit, she does pause and ask, am I being totally rude right now? But Sophia says it's okay. Piper goes on to say that Larry would make an ugly girl, which makes Sophia and Sister Angles laugh. Sister Angles is sitting in the other beauty shop chair, and she asks Piper if Larry's coming to visit her today since it's Thanksgiving. Sister Angles feels for Piper and tells her that the first holiday in prison can be rough and very emotional. But Sophia says, don't worry, Piper's got it, because she's about to make her look like Heidi Klum. So in the next scene, we're with Gloria and Daya in Spanish Harlem, and it looks like Gloria is brewing some kind of concoction in this little plug-in pot thing they have going on here. Gloria is busy putting in her ingredients, and Daya is just looking on, saying that it smells gross and asking Gloria how she learned how to do all of this. Gloria just casually mentions that her aunt was a Santeria and that she used to help her sometimes. And while the show wants you to believe that it's some sort of like witchcraft, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. So according to Google, a Santeria is a priest in the Santeria religion. And Santeria is an Afro-Caribbean religion that originated in Cuba in the late 19th century. It's a combination of traditional Yoruba religion, Roman Catholicism, and Spiritism. So basically it's a Latino religion that does incorporate some, spiritual things, but it's not witchcraft. It's spirituality. So as Gloria is messing with this pot, talking about I dabble with Santeria, Daya is looking on and asking Gloria, so what's going to happen to me? Gloria says, you're going to cramp up and you're going to have some wicked diarrhea. She tells Daya, this shit ain't pretty. You're going to drink this, then you're going to go out and dig a hole in the yard. And that's when Daya says, wait, you're going to make me shit in a hole? And Gloria looks at her like she's crazy. She's like, no, you're going to put this bean in there. Duh. Gloria tells Daya, then you're going to find a cigarette and blow some smoke in there. Then you cover it up with a mound of dirt. And Gloria says, and that's going to have to do it because I don't have all the ingredients that I need. So good luck with that. So it sounds like Gloria is trying to help Daya with some sort of a concoction to help Daya release the pregnancy. Apparently, it looks like that's what Daya wants to do, release her pregnancy or abort her child. We'll see how that goes. After Gloria finishes messing with the pot, she pours Daya a little bit of the potion she was mixing up. Before Daya takes a sip, she looks at it, she smells it, and then she asks Gloria, so this is going to kill it? Meaning her baby? And Gloria says with a shrug, well, that's what you want, right? And Daya says, well, as long as it doesn't feel anything. And Gloria says, please, it don't even have a brain yet. That's when Maria walks into their dorm area, newly postpartum Maria, who's very much missing her baby. When she walks in, Gloria just does a sign of the cross, turns to Daya and tells her to go ahead and drink it. As Daya's drinking Gloria's potion, Gloria's like, hey, where's my Snickers? So apparently Gloria made this whole thing for Daya in exchange for Snickers. So as Daya's drinking her potion, trying to get rid of her baby, and Maria's over in her bed, sad about missing her baby, we transition into the next scene where Tiffany's in the laundry room and she's saying, I pray for all the dead babies and all their baby souls. I kind of love how they did that scene where you have Daya considering not parenting her child and you have Maria over here mourning not having her child with her. And then we go over to Tiffany and she's talking about praying for the babies who have passed away. So it turns out Tiffany is actually dictating a letter to Leanne. Spoiler alert, Tiffany has a lot of fans. When Tiffany went to prison, she had a Christian fanatic group behind her supporting her, and so she still gets letters from a lot of their followers. So she writes them back from time to time to keep up the connection and let them know that she's gotten their letters. So Tiffany continues and tells Leanne to tell Judy that she prays for her as well. And that's when Leanne says, well, actually, her name is Barbara. And Tiffany's like, Barbara? Damn, I can't keep all this fan mail straight. I just can't keep up with it. She's very prison famous. Alex is also in the laundry room, and so she says to Tiffany, wait, you have fans? And Leanne jumps in saying, she's a hero. She's a defender of the unborn. Alex says, geez, that sounds like a bad X-Men movie. What did you do? Bomb an abortion clinic? Tiffany turns back to Leanne and tells her to sign off on the letter with, I will be out of here by 2015, before the rapture. I hate these moments that reference the future that I wish were true, but this one is not. When Tiffany mentions the rapture, Alex is like, oh boy, here we go. And Tiffany's like, is there something fucking funny to you? Alex says, yeah. Isn't the rapture always about to happen? Wasn't that supposed to have already happened in 2011? Tiffany's like, no, you got it all wrong. It actually comes in 2 stages. You'd know that if you studied your shit. The first one was a spiritual rapture, and the second one coming is a physical one. And so Alex is like, oh, okay, I see. Tiffany goes on and says, good. And by the way, you're not invited because they don't allow gay people on the rapture bus. And so Alex says sarcastically, there's a bus? Are all the seats already taken by Appalachian meth heads? Tiffany responds with, oh, you're gonna get it, Voss. You wanna go back in the dryer? Maybe I'll fucking turn it on this time, make you spin around like a gerbil. And you wanna know why? Because I've had it with rich bitches like you. Which leads us directly into an Alex flashback that shows us that Tiffany is so wrong. Alex was not raised some rich girl, and that's exactly the point of her flashback. The first thing that we see in Alex's flashback are some pretty worn-looking kid sneakers, and we hear some mean kid talking about, those are Bobos. Real Adidas have 3 stripes, not 4. So, come to find out, the rundown shoes belong to a preteen Alex, and she's being bullied by a group of preteen girls. The head mean girl is the one who's calling out Alex's shoes in front of everyone. Her and the other girls with her are clearly much more well off than Alex. The head mean girl literally has a fur coat, as does the girl next to her. These girls are rich, with diamonds in their ears, while Alex is by herself, wearing her rundown sneakers and a jacket that literally has duct tape on it, probably covering holes. Also, fun fact, the actress who's playing the head mean girl, making fun of Alex's shoes, is actually played by Sabrina Carpenter, the singer with all the cute little pop songs these days. Miss Espresso. She is the mean girl here, playing opposite young Alex in this scene. So as the head mean girl is telling Alex that her shoes are Bobos and not real Adidas, she continues and says, your mom shops at Payless and works at Friendly's, which I guess is supposed to be some sort of an insult. And as someone who's seen that done to others and even experienced that myself a time or two, I don't think it's cute. Somebody should tell these girls and other girls like them just how not cute it is. It's not nice to treat people that way, especially over things that they have no control over. It's just mean. And I feel bad for young Alex here. Young Alex tries to stand her ground and tells the mean girl, well, my mom has 4 jobs, to which the mean girl says, that's not something to brag about. You dress like a bum. And then the mean little girl next to her tags on and says, she smells like one too, which makes all the girls laugh. They're so mean. I feel so bad for young Alex. Of course, that's when Alex's mom arrives to pick her up. And as soon as the mean girl sees Alex's mom's car, she asks Alex, do you guys live in that janky car? And Alex just turns to leave. But as she leaves, the mean girls yell out to her, bye-bye, pigsty. They're so mean. When Alex is in the car, her mom asks her, so are those your friends? And Alex simply says no. As Alex and her mom are driving along, Alex takes off her shoes, rolls down her window, and proceeds to throw them out of the car. And her mom is like, what the hell are you doing? Alex simply says, I'm not wearing those anymore. They're Bobos. Alex's mom rightfully stops the car and she tells Alex to go get them back. But Alex says Jessica Wedge says they're lame. I guess that's the head mean girl, Jessica Wedge. And Alex's mom says without missing a beat, so fuck Jessica Wedge. Like, who the fuck cares what she thinks? But Alex continues. She says, they all make fun of me. They call me pigsty. That's when Alex's mom asks her, did you tell them who your father is? And Alex is like, I've never even met him. Her mom insists, well, you need to tell them. You tell them my dad is Lee Burley, the drummer for Death Maiden. And you see what those smug little bitches say then. So I guess her dad is some rock star who is completely absent from her life. Apparently doesn't help support them at all. But he's some rock star, so I guess her mom thinks that'll help her to be more accepted by the kids at school. Alex's mom insists that she is the daughter of a rock god. To which Alex says, if he's so rich and famous, why are we so broke? But here we can see a little bit of Alex's mom's trauma. That doesn't seem to matter to her at all. Alex's mom says, do you know how many girls threw themselves at him at those concerts? But your dad chose me, and together we made you. So even though he's not supporting them, the fact that she was chosen by him, that's good enough for her. So, we see where the mom's standards are. She then tells Alex, now go get your fucking sneakers. And don't you listen to those smarty pants assholes. They're going to have boring ass lives. They're going to wish that they were you. You are cool. And that makes young Alex smile. In the next scene, we're back at the prison and we see Officer Mendez telling the ladies, okay, we're going to let you have your little going away party, but do not make our lives more difficult afterwards by hanging yourselves, please. No Thanksgiving suicides. Mendez goes on to say, we are the Pilgrims, you bitches are the Indians. This is the holiday where we cooperate. And that's when Boo pipes in and says, yeah, sure. We bring you maize and you give us smallpox blankets. Mendez says, exactly. Everybody wins. Which I love it when this show brings in things from the real world. Some people prefer it when the show doesn't have social commentary, but I'm someone who actually loves it when they have social commentary. Like this little bit about the Native Americans and the Pilgrims. I mean, the history is the history, and I'm glad they spoke on it. So all the ladies are in the multi-purpose room getting ready for a going away party for Taystee, who's getting out soon. Piper's working on a sign for the party when Alex walks over and compliments her hair, telling her that she looks like John Benet Ramsey, which Piper says is kind of what she was going for. Alex helps Piper to hang up her sign saying, we'll miss you, Taystee. Piper says it's her second attempt at the sign because apparently she spelled Taystee's name wrong the first time. It's Taystee. Don't forget that double E. Just like Yadda Space, it's Taystee with 2 E's. So as Piper and Alex are working on hanging the sign, Poussey comes running in the room telling the ladies that Taystee's on her way. And so the ladies start chanting, Taystee, Taystee. Taystee comes running in saying, I'm getting out, bitches. Boo comes up to Taystee and gives her a hug saying, fight the power, fuck the man, as she looks directly at Mendez. So everyone comes up to give Taystee their hugs goodbye. Poussey gives her a hug. Cindy gives her a hug saying, aw, you scrubby little hood rat's gonna make a bitch cry. That's when the music starts and the girls are dancing to Milkshake by Khalees. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. We get a fun classic gift from Piper and Alex when they're doing some little routine that they made up back in the day, apparently to this song. So Alex comes up to Piper and she says, do you remember this? So the next thing you know, Piper and Alex are dipping and starting to move their arms and shoulders in this little choreographed dance routine, capturing the attention of the whole room. Poussey points at them and she's like, oh shit, these white bitches trying to throw down. Everyone's having a good time watching them dance, dancing themselves. And Alex and Piper are low-key getting a little bit flirty with their dancing, a little bit more than friendly. Mendez looks like he's enjoying that show, but Tiffany looks annoyed. Tiffany walks over to Mendez and she's like, hey, that's lesbian activity. He says it sure is, and completely ignores Tiffany as he continues to watch the ladies dance. Tiffany is not going to accept that though. When she walks out of that room and runs into Mr. Healy, she says to him, they're sexing Mr. Healy, I seen it. Tiffany even puts some icing on that cake and lies to Mr. Healy, telling him that she saw the two of them in the bathroom this morning having sex. And so Mr. Healy finally turns around like, who? Who are you talking about? Tiffany simply says Voss and Chapman. And as soon as she said Chapman's name, Mr. Healy got this cold look in his eye. His lips are all tight and he's like, Chapman? And we get a classic Tiffany line. Tiffany says, yup, she's a lesbian. They lesbianing together. They're in there right now in front of everybody, dancing all up on each other. And that's when Mr. Healy stops her and says, show me. And sure enough, when Tiffany and Mr. Healy get back to the multipurpose room, Piper and Alex are literally grinding on each other. Mr. Healy yells over to them like he's somebody's father, saying, Chapman, get over here. And Piper comes over to him looking like she's some little girl that just got in trouble at a slumber party for being too loud. Mr. Healy tells Chapman to shut her mouth. He says, do you think it's appropriate to violate another inmate like that? Piper's like, violate? We were just dancing. Mr. Healy looks to Mendez and says, that looked like attempted rape to me. Take her to SHU. Piper says, what? You can't do that. All the women in the room are frustrated that this is even happening. Piper says, you can't do that. And even Mendez backs her up, saying, she's kind of right. But Healy says, shut up, Mendez. I'm your superior fucking officer. Now you put her in the goddamn box or I will fucking write you up too. Well, damn, Mr. Healy. As Mendez goes to cuff Piper, Alex steps up to try to stop it. But Mr. Healy tells her to step back or I will cite you for assaulting an officer. So Mr. Healy means business and there is no wiggle room here today. Piper starts pleading to Mr. Healy saying, I have visitation today. Larry is coming to see me. You can't do this. And Tiffany is standing beside Mr. Healy looking very pleased with herself, staring directly at Alex almost tauntingly. Like, see what I made happen? You better watch out. And Tiffany practically skips out of the multipurpose room. So happy, so pleased with herself. And then we get what I think is our first official look at SHU, the solitary housing unit. An officer that we've never seen before escorts Piper downstairs. And it's this very scary corridor with these big, heavy doors. And there's a woman in isolation behind every single one of these doors. Many of them are screaming out for help or release as Piper is walking down this hallway to her cell. She looks scared. In Piper's room, all you see is what you would typically see in any prison show that you would watch on TV. A simple metal bed with a very thin and dirty mattress, a very thin and small blanket, a sink and toilet combination that looks very dirty, dirty walls, dirty floor, just not someplace you want to be. As the officer starts to take off Piper's cuffs, she turns to him and asks how long she's going to be down there. He simply says, till we let you out, as he closes the door behind her. Back in the multipurpose room, some of the ladies are cleaning up after Taystee's party. Poussey and Taystee are sitting at the table talking about Taystee's release plans for tomorrow. Taystee's a little bit frustrated because her cousin was supposed to send her a dress out pack, I guess some clothes that she could wear when she leaves. But apparently, since her cousin didn't send the pack, she has to leave wearing whatever she came in wearing, and she's worried about it not fitting anymore. A lot of times, due to the poor quality of food in the prison and the lack of exercise and activity, the inmates can end up gaining weight while they're in there, not due to overeating, just due to the quality of the food and the lack of physical activity. But Poussey tries to make Taystee feel better, saying, man, you can walk out of here in a garbage bag and you'd still be dancing all the way to the bus. True. But even that doesn't get Taystee to crack a smile. She looks over to Poussey and says, I'm scared. Poussey tells Taystee that nothing out there is going to be scarier than this shit. But Taystee says, I've been in institutions my whole life. I was a ward of the state till I was 16, and then I was in juvie. I've got no skills. But that's when Miss Claudette pipes in and says, well, now you're just lying. You've worked in that law library for 2 years. You know more than my public defender. Taystee says, yeah, but out there, you need real school for that stuff. And she starts to cry, saying no one's going to take her serious. Miss Claudette tells Taystee, you're a smart girl. You like to play the clown, but you have a lot to offer this world. This is not a life, Taystee. And Miss Claudette is so right. Taystee does have a lot to offer. And given the right tools and opportunities, she could do great things in this world. While I hate the path that Taystee goes down in this show, I still think, even with the path that she goes down, that she still can do great things in this world. Taystee's a very special person. And I, like Miss Claudette, wish that she knew that for herself. That's when Poussey jumps in and asks Taystee if she thinks what's happening is that thing that happens to animals in captivity, where it changes their brains. Poussey tells a story about a giraffe at the Bronx Zoo who ate its own vomit and banged its head up against the bars. Poussey says it's because the giraffe doesn't know how to live in the wild anymore. And Taystee says, that's what I'm saying. I'm the giraffe. Poussey says, fuck no, you ain't. Giraffes are skinny. Look at that ass. And even Taystee had to chuckle at that one. Poussey goes on to say, don't let them get to you, T. This ain't where it's at. Over in the next scene, we're in the visitation room. And I think this is our first time meeting Suzanne's parents. Big reveal for those who have never seen the show before. Suzanne's parents are visiting her for Thanksgiving, and both of her parents are there to see her, and they are an older white couple. So I think this is where it's revealed that Suzanne is adopted. We also have Sophia's wife, Crystal, visiting with her. She's filling her in on all the goings on at church, and come to find out, she's been spending some extra time with the new pastor, who she also mentions is sweet with Michael. And that's when it clicks to Sophia. She says to her wife, do you like him? This pastor? Crystal says he's a good man. Sophia's like, that's not what I'm asking. That's when Crystal tries to clam up saying, I don't really want to talk about it. It's Thanksgiving. Let's just not. But Sophia's like, I want to talk about it. So Crystal tells Sophia, listen, I get lonely. I miss the company of a man, and this guy is here. Crystal reminds Sophia what she told her when she first went away to prison. You know, Crystal's allowed to have a life. But now all of a sudden, now that it's happening, Sophia is not comfortable with the situation. Sophia says that she doesn't want some strange man around her wife and son. But Crystal simply says, well, we don't always get what we want, now do we? That scene cuts, and the next thing that we see is Larry trying to get through security so that he can go visit with Piper. But once Larry goes to check in with security, C.O. Fisher tells him that he can't see Piper today. And Larry's like, well, why not? C.O. Fisher tells Larry that Piper's had some privileges revoked. And she tells Larry that Piper is in the security housing unit, which she calls it the security housing unit, and I've been calling it the solitary housing unit. I guess I was wrong. I feel like solitary housing unit makes more sense, but okay, whatevs. I stand corrected. Larry asks C.O. Fisher, what did Piper do to go down there? Like, what happened? But she can't give him any information. And the less information that she gives him, the more irate he's becoming. Because obviously he was looking forward to seeing his fiance, and now all of a sudden he can't, and he has no information. He doesn't know if she's okay, what's happened to her, or anything. I can understand his frustration. Larry eventually gets C.O. Fisher to agree to give his phone number to Mr. Healy so that Mr. Healy can call him and tell him what's going on with Piper. Back in solitary with Piper, we see her again in this dirty, scary place with her pretty holiday visitation hair, looking just terrified. There are people in other cells nearby her screaming crazy things like, I'll kill all you motherfuckers. People saying, I'm gonna kill myself if I can't get out of here. Things written on the wall like, fuck you and kill me now. Just awful, awful, awful things. And if you're sitting here 24/7 for who knows how long, I can't even begin to imagine the toll that all that takes on you and your emotional well-being. Eventually, Piper just sits down on the floor and starts to cry. And I don't even blame her. Elsewhere in the prison, we're in the cafeteria at a table with Tiffany and Leanne when Alex walks in. She walks directly over to Tiffany, grabs her by the face, and starts kissing her. Then Alex says out loud for everyone to hear, thanks for last night, baby. That shit was amazing. Nobody's ever licked my pussy like that. To which Tiffany says, you are lying. I would never touch this bitch. That's when Bennett, Daya's boy toy, comes in to try to break up the argument, talking about, hey, knock it off. You want to join your friend down the hill? I don't know why. I don't take Bennett seriously at all. He's a joke to me. As Bennett is splitting up Alex and Tiffany, Tiffany's yelling out to Alex, you're going to hell and you're going to burn there for the entire eternity. And Alex walks out of the cafeteria, throws both middle fingers up in the air, saying, I'm already there. Badass. She's a badass. What can I say? Back in the kitchen, Red is having Norma taste some of the Thanksgiving gravy that she whipped up. And all was peaceful until Mendez comes in. Mendez kicks all of the other ladies out of the kitchen except for Red. Once they all leave, Mendez closes the gate behind them. So it's just him and Red in the kitchen with a gate between them and anyone else. Red goes about her business, continues to stir the gravy as Mendez starts to go through Red's boxes from Neptune's produce. When he opens the box and doesn't see his pills, he says to Red, "Where's my shit?" But she tells him, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "Come on, are you gonna make me go through every box in here?" That's when Red says, "How did you do it? Did you stop the truck? Like, how did you get them to bring in stuff for you?" Mendez says, "Maybe. Or maybe I got it from one of your girls." Red says, "My girls wouldn't tell you shit." And Mendez just lets her sit with that, like, huh, okay. Because we know that he found out about Neptune's from Nikki, one of Red's girls. That's when Red says to Mendez, "You want your pills? You can go stick your head in the toilet. There might still be a few floating around." Mendez walks over to Red looking like he's ready to rip her head off, literally. But Red does not back down. She holds her stance and continues stirring the gravy, does not flinch. Red is a tough lady. Mendez says, "You listen to me, you crazy cunt. The next time my shipment comes in, you're gonna put it to the side." That's when Red says, "Trish is in detox. Caputo is looking for her source. What do you think he'll think of your little operation?" But Mendez says, "Oh, you mean your operation? All this contraband is coming through your kitchen. It looks like we're in a Cold War standoff, and I've got a bigger weapon than you. You want to see it?" That's when Red takes pause, because Mendez starts to undo his buckle and lower his zipper. And Red is looking around like, is anybody seeing this? What the hell is about to happen here? I think for the first time, Red looks worried. But when Mendez is finished unzipping his pants, he turns and he pees in Red's gravy. Absolutely disgusting. When he finishes, he takes her big spoon, stirs the gravy up with his pee, and says, "Just a little something extra for the holidays." Mendez goes on to tell Red, "The next time you fuck with my stash, I'll end your life." And with that, he pulls back the gate and leaves Red's kitchen. After totally ruining the gravy, by the way, and traumatizing Red. He's awful. In the next scene, we're with Larry. He's on the phone trying to find out what's going on with Piper, basically trying to speak to the manager of the manager of the manager, trying to get to the top of the line so he can get some answers about what's going on with Piper. But he's not getting anywhere because it's a holiday, and basically everyone is telling him that he's not going to get any answers until Monday. I can understand his frustration though. You know, his love is in the solitary unit and he has no idea why. He has no way of reaching her and he doesn't even know how long she'll be there for. He probably feels completely helpless. Larry is so annoyed and so frustrated that he's ready to just cancel Thanksgiving. He's supposed to be having some people over. Piper's brother Cal is there, but Larry is ready to cancel. Piper's brother Cal is like, "Listen, I love my sister, but she got herself sent to prison, and now she's clearly pulled some other shit to get herself into even more trouble. You have done everything that you can do, and you said that Piper loves Thanksgiving so much. She'd love the fact that you're throwing Thanksgiving. Like, let's not cancel it. Let's do it." Piper's brother Cal says she'd want us to celebrate. I'm sure she's fine. Which transitions us back to Piper, back in SHU, and she is laying on the floor, very much not fine. That's when Mr. Healy comes to Piper's solitary door. Mr. Healy asks Piper, "How are you doing down here?" Piper tells him, "I'm in a cement box and people are screaming." Mr. Healy, I think being completely inappropriate, says, "You needed a little time out to think about your behavior." Piper's like, "My what?" "I was dancing." Mr. Healy doubles down. He's like, "Yeah, provocatively, sexually, gay sexually." Piper tells him, "This is illegal. You can't keep me in here." But Mr. Healy says, "And there's where you're wrong. Chapman, I tried to be nice to you because I understand where you come from." Piper says, "You don't know me." Mr. Healy continues and says, "I thought we could be friends, but you're not yourself lately. You're acting out." Piper says, "So you're teaching me a lesson? Like, who do you think you are?" Mr. Healy says, "You should be thanking me. Alex Voss is sick." I get you. You're not like her. But that's when Piper says, the only sicko here is you. And under different circumstances, I'd what? Be your girlfriend? Is that it? Did I make you jealous? Piper's like, you put me down here for no reason. Wake up, Healy. Girls like me, we don't fuck ignorant, pretentious old men with weird lesbian obsessions. We go for tall, hot girls, and we fucking love it. So that leaves you on the outside living your sad, sad little life. You don't get me, ever. And Piper is practically screaming at this point as she tells Mr. Healy to go fuck himself. Mr. Healy says, Happy Thanksgiving, Chapman, as he closes the door's window on her. And that's when it hits Piper, like, what the hell did I just do? I mean, I'm sure she felt all the things that she said, but she said those things to the one person who could maybe help her. She may have just shot herself in the foot here, and she knows it. In another area of the prison, we see Alex walking up to her bunk, only to find out that her mattress has been removed. Apparently, Alex shares a bunk with Leanne, and so she turns to her saying, what the fuck did you do to my mattress? Leanne just laughs and shrugs. So Alex goes off to get some help from C.O. O'Neill, saying under her breath, fucking crackheads. When Alex knocks on the C.O. bubble, C.O. O'Neill opens the door as C.O. Wanda Bell is buttoning her shirt. So I don't know what they had going on in there before Alex got there, but it was something. Alex tells C.O. O'Neill that her bunkie stole her mattress. But C.O. O'Neill asks Alex how does she know it was stolen? And she's like, because it's not on my bed. And my bunkie and her hick friend have been fucking with me. So I need a new mattress. But C.O. O'Neill tells her that we only issue one mattress per inmate. And so she would have to fill out a form to get a new one. Which, who the heck knows how long that would take. And C.O. Bell pipes in there, telling Alex that it would take a few weeks to replace it. And rightfully so, Alex says, so what am I supposed to do in the meantime? Sleep on the frame? C.O. O'Neill basically tells her, yeah, it would probably be good for your back. Your body will thank you, excuse me, as he closes the door in her face. And so Alex again knocks on the door. But that knock transitions us into an Alex flashback. This flashback is the time when Alex was knocking on her father's door, you know, the rock god. And when he opened it, Alex told him, I'm your daughter. She looks to be in her 20s or so. I guess this is when she decided to go find him. It looks like Alex's dad is still living the rock and roll lifestyle. He lets her in. Apparently they're backstage at a show. So Alex went to the show and then got let backstage so that she could meet him. There's a bunch of older people back there, drinking, smoking, drugging, you know, rock and roll. I don't know why, but watching this scene with Alex's dad, he's reminding me of Caputo a little bit. I don't know. You guys watch this scene back and let me know what you think. Do you think that Alex's dad looks a little bit like Caputo? You know, when Caputo was in his rock band mode in his band Side Boob? Interesting. Her dad is clearly a has-been rocker. He's complaining to Alex about how he can't fill the shows anymore, about how he doesn't like some of the songs that he's written. And once he realizes he's spiraling, he brings it back and he tells Alex, I can't believe you're my kid. He tells her he's happy to see her, which she says, me too, looking really excited. Like, yay, I'm getting to meet my dad and I'll get to know him and everything. But then he continues and he says, because I would have never recognized you in a million years. And you've got a serious rack on you, too. I mean, I could have accidentally fucked her, right? Jesus Christ, guy, this is your daughter. That's when Alex is like, okay, is there a bathroom around here? Like, can I be excused? But when Alex gets to the bathroom, she closes the door and she just takes that time to calm herself because she's clearly distressed about the reception she's getting from her dad. It's not exactly what she had in mind when she decided to come find him. When she gets out of the bathroom, some guy that was hanging out there with her dad is waiting for her and asking Alex if she's okay. The guy says to Alex, he's not what you thought, huh? Alex says, yeah, it's fucking depressing. The guy tells her, most people are better in the abstract. That's a hard damn truth. That's when the guy says to Alex, it's Alex, right? She says, yeah. And he introduces himself as Fahri and then offers her a bump of drugs. Nice guy. But Alex just laughs and says, no thanks. Fahri says, smart girl. That's when Alex asks him, she's like, Fahri, what are you doing hanging out with these losers? And he tells her, they're my clients. Alex looks intrigued. And so she asks him, What do you do? Fahri responds, I work for an international drug cartel. And Alex laughs, which is so funny because that's exactly what happened when Piper asked Alex what she did for a living. Very cute writing callback. So that's the backstory on how Alex met Fahri. Fahri is the man who is going to end up getting her involved in the international drug cartel as well with their boss Kubra. So it looks like if Alex hadn't tried to meet her father, maybe she would have never run into Fahri. Maybe never would have ran into the drug cartel. Maybe never would have did all that and ended up in prison. Maybe. But she also maybe would have never run into Piper. So I guess it is what it is. And what's meant to be will be. Back at the prison, we're with Daya, and she is not doing well. She's sweating and doubled over in what looks like pain when her mom walks up to her with a cup of water. Daya says to Aleida, will you get Gloria? I am dying. Aleida feels Daya's forehead for a fever and tells her, you're not dying. Hands her the cup of water and tells her, serves you right for drinking some stupid potion from some half-assed Santeria. And Daya's like, who told you? Aleida's like, Gloria told me. So I told her to give you some fruits and berries to make you shit your brains out and learn your lesson. And Daya's like, so the tea was bullshit? It's not gonna work? Aleida says, you think I'm gonna let you ice my grandbaby? Daya says, do you want me to end up like you? I'm already in prison. All I need is 5 different baby daddies and an ass tattoo of a dog. To which Aleida says, it's a wolf. Get it straight, okay? Aleida tells Daya, listen, I've made mistakes. I didn't have anybody teaching me what to do. So, maybe I'm not the mother of the year, but at least I put something into this world that could still be good. I made something. I fucked up my own life, but Eva, Lucy, Christina, Emiliano, and even you could still be something. Aleida says, babies give you hope, as she gently brushes Daya's hair out of her face and starts to rub her back. Mothering her a little bit. It's nice to see. I always thought that was a funny reveal, the way that we find out that Aleida is actually the one who got Gloria to make Daya a fake potion to quote unquote get rid of her baby. In her own way, she's trying to show Daya that she cares and is trying to step up for her, and I guess the best way that she knows how. But no, Aleida, you are not Mother of the Year. In another area of the prison, we see Piper taking her first shower in SHU. Apparently, when you shower in SHU, you have to literally be chained to the wall. So she's got one wrist in a handcuff connected to the wall, and her other hand is free to bathe herself. Also, she's taking this shower in the presence of not only a guard, but a male guard. I feel like that shouldn't be. Do they not have female guards for sensitive situations like this? I don't know in what world they think it's okay for a male guard to be here while she's taking a shower right now. I understand that she's in prison, but this just feels wrong. In another bathroom, in another area of the prison, we have Alex getting out of the shower to find out that somebody has broken her glasses in half while she was in the shower. Around the corner, we see Tiffany and Leanne laughing, so I'm assuming they're the ones who broke her glasses. She can barely even make them out without her glasses. Her eyesight is really bad. Which all the more reason to not leave your glasses sitting out on a bench. If Alex was showering, why did she not have the glasses in there with her? I mean, obviously not on, but I would have kept them closer to me is all I'm saying. Back in SHU, Piper is getting her first meal through the meal slot of her cell. I mean, a meal if you want to call it that. What they actually presented Piper with is a food tray with a moldy piece of bologna on it. Disgusting. Happy Thanksgiving. That's when Piper hears another inmate through the vent saying, I found a maggot in mine, which again, absolutely disgusting. When Piper realizes that someone is talking to her, she's like, wait, hold on a second. Is someone there? And the other person asks, are you real? Piper says, yes, I'm real. Are you real? And the other person says, I don't know. Wow. And they just cut that scene there. Elsewhere in the prison, we have Taystee talking to Sophia, telling her about all the things she's going to do when she gets out of here. Her first stop is going to be to Angelo's Pizza in the Bronx because she wants a piece of everything pizza. But Taystee says she only wants one slice of pizza because after that, they're going to go to her auntie's house for Thanksgiving dinner and then probably out dancing at the Monte Carlo room afterwards. And when she gets there, she's going to order a Sex on the Beach with 10 maraschino cherries in it, and a man is going to buy it for her. And the girls just start laughing, just having real girl talk. That's when C.O. Maxwell comes down and tells Taystee, Van's here, it's time to go. But Taystee's like, right now? I have to go say my goodbyes. But C.O. Maxwell is telling her, listen, if you don't go now, you're not getting out till Monday. It's a holiday. People are trying to go home. The time to go is now. Let's go. So Taystee doesn't get to say goodbye to anybody. She doesn't even get to say goodbye to Poussey. The next thing we see is Taystee walking out to the van. A group of the girls are standing at the window watching Taystee leave when Poussey comes up talking about, what the fuck? They took her already? I didn't even say goodbye. Poussey starts knocking on the window. Like, Taystee, yo, Taystee. Yoga Jones tells her she can't hear you, but Poussey just knocks louder, and eventually Taystee does hear her. Taystee looks up at Poussey, waves happily, and then starts dancing, just like Poussey said she would, dancing all the way to the van. The ladies start laughing. They're very happy for her. And while Poussey is happy for her, you can also see she's also pretty sad because her best friend is leaving. And without Taystee there, Poussey probably feels truly alone. So over at Larry's Thanksgiving, people are starting to arrive. We have Polly, her husband Pete, their little baby Finn, and a stranger at the door. Polly tells Larry, I hope you don't mind, but we brought a stray. Larry, this is our friend Maury. And Larry's like, yeah, Maury Kind. You're not a stray, you're Maury Kind from NPR. As a journalist, he's very excited. As everybody is walking in, Pete tells Larry that he's working on some audio for Maury Kind, and so that's how they know each other. And he also tells Larry that Maury Kind is a fan of one of his columns. Pete tells Larry that Maury read his column on modern love and loved it. Back at the prison, we're back with Piper and SHU, and she's venting to the mystery person in the neighboring cell, saying what an asshole Healy is. She can't believe that people like him are even allowed to work here. Piper says that they take these insecure and frustrated men and they put them in charge of a bunch of powerless women and they become these predatory creeps. The person in the neighboring cell says, you can rage, but they always win. They're the ones with the keys, which is true. There's a great shot after she says that of Piper, and behind her, etched into the wall, someone wrote, you fool. So it's almost like the person in the neighboring cell is saying, you can rage, but they always win. They're the ones with the keys. And then the wall is saying to Piper, you fool, you thought you won? You ain't win. They have the keys. That's when Piper asks the other person, how long have you been down here? But they say, I don't know. I've lost track. Maybe 9 months, a year? And Piper's like, a year? That's insane. The mystery person continues and says, well, they keep the lights on, so you lose all sense of time. It's not living. I mean, yeah, you're breathing, but you ain't a person no more. It's bad. You start to see shit that ain't there. You start to hear voices. And that's when Piper says, oh my God. And the person continues saying, they keep you here until they break you. But Piper is starting to spiral. She says, I think I'm going to throw up. Why did I do that? Why did I say those things? He's never going to let me out of here. And that's when Piper starts to really lose it. She starts saying, I am so fucking stupid. I am so stupid. What is wrong with me? Yeah, girl, I don't know why you decided to go off of Mr. Healy when Mr. Healy was standing between you and getting out of that box. That was not a smart move. Piper looks absolutely terrified. And she says, I swear to God that if they let me out of here, I will shut up, I will put my head down, and I will do my time. I'll smile at Healy and I won't go near her. I won't even look at her. I can do that. I can do that. I can. Piper is just trying to bargain with the universe in hopes of getting out of here. And if she makes it out, apparently she's going to change her ways. We shall see. Elsewhere in the prison, we see Nikki walking into the laundry room as Alex is trying to tape up her glasses. And Nikki's like, what happened to your glasses? Alex responds, they were smashed in the name of Jesus. Nikki's like, oh shit, Pennsatucky? You guys have really released the Kraken. Alex says she's decided that it's her Christian duty to annihilate me because apparently I'm a privileged rich girl. Alex says, which is hilarious because those types of girls tortured me my whole fucking life. Alex tells Nikki, if you and I had met in 5th grade, you would have made fun of my clothes. as she puts her perfectly nerdily taped up glasses on, you know, with that white strip of tape in between, looking like, you know, your stereotypical dork. Nikki laughs, saying, who, me? No, I would never. You look terrific, by the way. That's when Alex calls out Nikki for being raised a rich girl. And Nikki's like, who told you that shit? How did you know that? Alex simply says, my business was built on sniffing out girls like you and turning them into drug mules. Basically what she did to Piper. Alex says that Nikki at 19 would have been a perfect drug mule. But Nikki says, no, I'd be a terrible one. I would have done all your drugs. So Nikki asks Alex, what makes you think I would have fallen into your trap? Alex says, well, you were rich, so you're used to easy money. You have enough stamps in your passport to avoid suspicion. You hated your parents. You were in your experimental phase, looking for adventure. So clearly, you would have been in. That's when Nikki puts 2 and 2 together, and she's like, so is that who Piper was? And Alex says very seriously, no, Piper was different. Nikki says, why? Because you loved her? And Alex just simply says again, because she was different. Over in the chapel, Sophia is confiding to Sister Engels about how her wife is starting to get closer to the pastor at their church. Sophia tells Sister Engels that Crystal wants her blessing. Sister Engels says, well, you should give it to her. And Sophia's like, why? I don't understand why she needs to have sex. I mean, look at you. And Sister Engels says, I'm a nun. I took a vow. Crystal married a man with a penis, I assume because she wanted to use it occasionally. I should assume so. That's when Sister Engels asks Sophia how much time she has left. And apparently Sophia has 3 years and 8 months left to go. Sister Engels says, you got what you needed at a pretty big cost to your family. This is what Crystal needs. Doesn't she deserve some happiness? Sister Engels encourages Sophia to just let Crystal go. But Sophia says she can't. Sister Engels insists it's the right thing to do. So the next scene is what I would call a mostly filler scene. We're back at Larry and Cal's Thanksgiving. Everybody's eating. The important parts of this scene that you should know are A, Cal's now girlfriend is there, Neri. So we do get to meet Neri in this scene. Also, Larry is super trying to push up on Maury, the NPR guy. Maury is really not interested in much of what Larry has to say, but Larry persists. He's trying to see if he can get on Maury's NPR show somehow, some way, but Maury doesn't think that's very compelling. What he does think is a compelling angle is maybe having Larry on to talk about him and Piper in the framework of them having a unique long distance relationship. And Larry is like, word, you think we'd be good for that? I'm down. Let's do it. It seems like it doesn't really matter what this man wants to talk about. If Maury is willing to have Larry on his show, Larry is down. Back at the prison, we are in the cafeteria, and Red is proudly overseeing everyone eating her lovely Thanksgiving dinner. Boo says to Red, it's all looking pretty good, but what happened to the gravy? And so Red says, are you complaining? And Boo's like, no, not complaining. Let me get out of here. Not complaining. That's when Gina walks up to Red and says, I don't know why you threw it out. I tried it. It tasted great to me. Oh, Gina, disgusting. Red turns to look at her absolutely horrified, like, oh my God, you did? For some reason today on Thanksgiving, the cafeteria tables don't really seem to be separated by race. So that said, we head over to a table that has Nikki, Poussey, Alex, Yoga Jones, Sophia, and Janae. A lightly mixed table here, and Yoga Jones is saying what she's thankful for, because it is Thanksgiving. So Yoga Jones is thankful for her health, her strong body and mind. And she's also thankful for all these girls who remind her every day that self-forgiveness is possible. Poussey says, well, I'm thankful that Taystee got the fuck up out of this dump. And Janae seconds that. That's when Boo gets to the table and she says, I'm thankful for my new bitch, Little Boo, her little dog companion that she's got with her. Boo then goes on to say, and of course, I'm thankful for all you other bitches. Yoga Jones asks Sister Engels to say grace for the table. So Sister Engels says, I trust in the Lord with all my heart and lean not on my own understanding, and looks over at Sophia as she says, amen. A little hint, hint, nudge, nudge regarding her situation with her wife. As the ladies start to eat after grace, Alex says it doesn't feel right to be eating while she's in there, meaning while Piper's in SHU. That transitions us back over to SHU, where Piper's getting her next meal through the meal slot. This time, it looks like it's a hard piece of something just smushed together. Just disgusting. Inedible. I don't know what that is. Piper must be hungry because she decides to be adventurous and pick up a little piece to take a bite and quickly spits it right back out. That stuff is disgusting. After she tastes it, she starts to knock on the air vent to see what the neighboring mystery inmate got for her meal. But she doesn't get a response this time. And Piper's like, hello? Are you still there? Piper looks like she's questioning her own sanity at this point. Literally wondering A, if the mystery inmate is still in there, and B, was she ever in there? Piper's not quite sure. And neither am I, to be honest. I never quite figured out if that was ever real or not. What do you guys think? Was there ever really a person in the other cell? Or was that just Piper's mind messing with her? Over in Mr. Healy's office, Caputo was telling Mr. Healy, you can't keep Chapman down there. I don't know what the hell she's doing in SEG in the first place. Christ, even Mendez said it was uncalled for. And that guy lives to throw people in the box. Word. If Mendez said it was out of line, that shit was really out of line. Healy stands his ground though. He tells Caputo, you are not my boss. Caputo stands his ground and says, today I am. Fig is not here. So guess what? I'm your boss today. And this is wrong. Caputo says, I am telling you, I don't have the write-ups or the paperwork to support this. She got under your skin, Sam. This is a personal thing. That's when Healy says she thinks she's running the place. I mean, kind of. I think Piper does get to a point where she legit thinks that she's running the place, but I don't think we're there yet, Mr. Healy. Caputo doesn't really want to hear it. He's like, you think you've got problems? I've got her fiance on the outside, probably getting the Obamas on the phone by now. Like, he's causing a big problem for us. We got to get this girl out of SHU. Mr. Healy says it hasn't even been 48 hours yet. Caputo does not care. He says, get her out of there. The next scene brings us back to the cafeteria, back at Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, so some of the tables in the cafeteria are still separated by race. This time we're over at the Latina table and they just finished saying grace. Gloria looks over at Daya and apologizes for fooling her earlier with the whole potion business. Daya tells Gloria it's okay. She's kind of relieved anyways. And Aleda is looking at her like, I knew it. Good. I made a good choice for you. Daya looks over at Bennett and then she thinks about it for a minute before she says to her mom, I think I want to keep it, meaning the baby. And her mom is so thankful, very happy. Daya continues and says, but I don't want to get him in trouble though, meaning Bennett, the guard, who's the father of her child. Aleda looks over at Bennett, back at Daya, and says, don't worry about it. We're going to figure something out. You're going to have a baby. I'm going to be a grandmother. It's going to be a good thing. Elsewhere in the prison, we see Sophia at the phone banks, and she's calling her wife Crystal. When Crystal answers the phone, Sophia says, I was wrong. You do whatever you need to do. You have my blessing. And Crystal's processing it. She knows it took a lot for Sophia to get there, but she looks at peace with the fact that Sophia is finally there. Crystal tells Sophia thank you and says happy Thanksgiving. Sophia says it back, and that's that. Crystal's off to go mingle with the pastor, I suppose. In the next scene, we see Taystee on the outside, but she's having some problems. Apparently, the play cousin she was supposed to be staying with no longer lives at the address that Taystee has for her. The woman who does live at this address looks like she does have some other people living with her. Maybe she's a foster parent because she tells Taystee that she ain't getting her ass in trouble letting some ex-con stay in her house. So I guess at the very least, there are some rules about who can stay in her home. Taystee insists, I have to stay here. This is the address that I gave to my supervisor. Like, they're going to check for her there. So she has to be there when they come check on her. But the lady at the door is not trying to hear it. She says, that is not my problem. Taystee is at a loss. She's like, I got nowhere else to stay at. So the woman at the door finally tells Taystee, you know what? Fine. You can sleep in that corner on the floor, and it's only for one night. Taystee has to be out in the morning. So already Taystee is out in the world and off on the wrong foot because she has no support on the outside. Already we can see that even though Taystee seemingly is having a great day because she got out of prison today, because she has no support on the outside, she's having a hard time. Back at the prison, we're on the pill line with Sophia, and apparently they have a new doctor because she's back to her old dosage of hormones. Go Sophia, that's a win. The next thing that we see is the same guard that walked Piper down to SHU is at her door telling her, all right, Chapman, back to camp. Your time here in SHU is done. Piper looks so out of it, especially only having been down there for less than 2 days. I can't imagine how it is for the people who are down there for much longer than that. It must be horrible, which is why even though Piper looks out of it, she also still looks super thankful to be leaving that place. Over in Mr. Healy's office, we have CO Fisher coming in to deliver Larry's phone number to Mr. Healy. Because remember, Larry wanted Mr. Healy to call him and let him know what was going on with Piper. Mr. Healy takes Larry's number, excuses CO Fisher, and gives Larry a call. We're left to assume that Mr. Healy is going to tell Larry that Piper was dancing all up on Alex and they were lesbianing together. Because Mr. Healy apparently has a problem with Chapman, a problem with lesbians, and it looks like he wants to stick it to Piper, so why not get her in trouble with her fiancé? Meanwhile, we see Piper, fresh out of SHU, wandering the halls until something seems to click for her, and she starts walking with purpose directly over to Alex's bunk. Alex is there, making her non-bed with her blanket and no mattress, when Piper grabs her hand and says, let's get out of here. Alex says, okay, and follows Piper, who leads her directly to the chapel. When they get there, Alex asks Piper, what are we doing here? Piper doesn't say a word. She just grabs Alex and they start making out right there by the chapel's altar as we fade to our orange screen indicating the end of the episode. So there we have it, folks. Piper and Alex, our little will they, won't they? Apparently they will. They've officially reconnected. As a reminder, IMDb rated that episode an 8.3. I have a feeling that that last scene with Piper and Alex finally getting together is a big part of the reason why this episode is rated the highest so far. A good portion of the fans were really excited to see if Alex and Piper were going to ever get together. And we finally got it in this episode, so the fans were happy. That is not a key factor in my rating for this episode, however. I do still think that this episode is iconic, though. For one, because we finally get to see what SHU is like, and I think that was pretty eye-opening for the audience to finally see what that experience is like. I also enjoyed the side quests with Daya, Gloria, and Aleda, with the fake potion and Daya deciding to keep her baby. I thought that was a cute way for them to give Daya some more time to think about how she really wanted to handle this situation. Apparently the time was put to good use because Daya decided that she wanted to keep her baby. So imagine if they hadn't given her that time and what a huge mistake that would have been. The scene with Mendez in the kitchen with Red and the gravy is a standout for me as far as one of the most disgusting things I've seen him do as a guard. In all of my rewatches of this show, I don't know why I never remembered the scene with Alex meeting her father. And I definitely didn't remember that that's how Alex met Fahri, who is the person who introduced her to the drug cartel life. That is a key moment of her entire story. And so that alone makes this episode pretty important. Because without Alex going to meet her father, she may have never met Fahri. She may have never been involved in the drug cartel. She may have never went to prison. She may have never met Piper. The butterfly effect of things that happened because of this one scene, insane. I also thought it was interesting how this episode set up an episode I'm looking forward to where Larry is going to have this interview on NPR. That interview is very interesting, and the fact that this episode sets that up, very cool. So with that, as well as some of the fun things like Taystee getting out and the party and the dancing, I'd say that puts this episode at about an 8 for me. I'm gonna give it an 8, but that's just me. Don't forget to let me know what your ratings are for this episode in the comments. Next week's episode is titled Bora Bora Bora, but I remember this episode more so as the Scared Straight episode. The IMDb synopsis for this episode says, Pennsatucky flaunts her new healing hands that Jesus has supposedly given her. The prison brings in a group of teenage troublemakers so that the inmates can scare them straight. Trisha returns from detox to find she has lost her position on the kitchen staff and must still deal with Mendez breathing down her neck for her drug debts. So that's next week's episode. We will also be getting backstories next week from Trisha and Piper. By the way, IMDb rated next week's episode an 8.5, which is even higher than this week. So I'm actually really looking forward to revisiting that one next week. I'll see y'all then. Same time, same place. As always, thanks for hanging with me in Yadda Space. Don't forget to comment your favorite lines from the episode and let me know what your personal rating is for this week's episode. Mine, again, was an 8, but what do you guys think? I would love to hear yours. Just so you know, I've been having such a good time chit-chatting with you guys about Orange is the New Black. Self-promotion does not come easy, but I know it's a must to keep the podcast going. Every time you guys listen to the podcast, you like a post, you comment, or you share a post on social media, you're helping this little podcast to grow, and I can't thank you enough for the love and support. If you've been hanging out in Yadda Space for a while now and you're enjoying the Back to Litchfield podcast, please consider leaving the podcast a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. Also, if you're able and want to go the extra mile, please consider checking out our Patreon. Joining the Prison Moms tier helps to literally keep the lights on for this little one lady show, and it gives you early ad-free episodes, access to our exclusive Back to Litchfield chat right on Patreon, and honorary producer credits for the podcast, where you can be listed in the show notes for every episode that you help produce. And be sure to follow us on your favorite social media apps. We are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and now Blue Sky. Please follow those accounts for bonus content from the show, as well as updates about the podcast. You can find all of our podcast links on our Linktree. The address is linktree/Yadda Space. That's linktr.ee/Yadda Space with 2 E's. And if ever you're searching for the pod, remember, it's just like the theme song says, Yadda Space with 2 E's. Thanks again for your continued support. It means so, so very much. I'll catch up with y'all next time here at Yadda Space.
Hey, welcome friends to Yadda Space. I'm Yadda here, let's set the pace. This is a rewatch podcast, so let's begin. Orange is the New Black is where we dive in. Taystee's wisdom sets the tone. Like home. Nikki's got that quick one fire. Morello's love of love lifts us higher. Spoiler